Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're a little bit confused, yes, my name used to be Slava KP. I have rebranded, and I'll make another video explaining why and what happened. As you may know, I made a lot of Destiny 2 content over the years. Build videos, skits, memes, edits, all of that. But lately, it just hasn't been fun. Playing the game has started to feel less like fun and more like a chore. The power grind is extremely slow. After finishing the campaign, your light level isn't even close to 200. From there, you've got to push all the way to 450, and now Bungie has raised the requirement to 550. Power level grinding isn't what it used to be. I don't want to spend 12 hours a day solo grinding in the Caldera mines just to catch up. Huge respect to people who can do it and did do it, but that's just not me. That's not what games are supposed to be about. And honestly, that's not even the only problem we are facing right now. One of the biggest issues is that progression does not feel rewarding anymore. You put hours upon hours of work, and what do you get? A few light levels, and maybe some duplicate weapons you've already dismantled 100 times. It feels like busy work. Back in the day, you'd grind for a specific piece of loot because it felt meaningful. You wanted that exotic, you wanted that roll. Now half the time, it feels like the game is just padding out of the grind to keep us online. And then there's PvP. I love PvP in Destiny. I really do. But it's been in a rough state for quite some time. Balance swings from one extreme to the other, and some weapons feel broken for months. Others are left to rot, maps don't get enough rotation, and don't even get me started on matchmaking. Trials used to be the pinnacle PvP activity, and now it feels like an exhausting sweat fest unless you're stacked with a top tier team. An Iron Banner. It's fun, but it doesn't carry the same excitement it used to. The reality is, PvP feels like an afterthought. We get a new map once in a blue moon, modes are recycled, and when Bungie does address PvP, it's usually through broad nerfs instead of meaningful updates. Matchmaking is another huge pain point. Some lobbies are absolute stomps, where you get steamrolled by stacked teams, and other times you are matched against people way below your skill level, and it doesn't feel competitive. It feels kind of random. And when your experience depends on luck instead of fair systems, it kills the motivation to keep playing. And the sandbox, it's like it gets balanced once every few months, with sweeping changes that often create more problems than they solve. PvP should be Destiny's crown jewel. It is one of the most smoothest feeling FPS experiences out there, but right now it feels neglected, and honestly that hurts. And speaking of neglect, let's talk about glaives. If you've been around my channel, you know I love glaives. I've defended them, built around them, and made a few videos about them. But right now, they're rough. Tracking is inconsistent, aim assist feels wonky, and the weapon's identity feels unclear. Are they ranged? Melee? Utility tools? Currently, they're frustrating. The bar of entry for glaives have been made too high. Players who struggle with projectile aiming are punished, and when Bungie toned down the Jotun-like tracking, it fixed some problems, but it also made it harder for lower skilled players to pick up glaives in PvP. And of course, we have the strand-sized elephant in the room, the one-shot melee build. It has to go. I matched a player last week who literally didn't even know glaives could shoot. All he did was spam the melee build. I spoke with him after the match, and he had no idea the projectile even existed. I tried the build myself, and I'll admit, it's a little silly. Fun at first, but ultimately, it wasn't good to use. It felt oppressive, inconsistent, and reinforced the worst parts of Glaive's current state. Instead of being versatile and fun, builds like that cheapen the weapon. On top of all this, there's a projectile hit registration bug. Since the final shape, many projectiles including glaives, bows, incinerator snap, and weighted throwing knives have severe delayed hit registration. It doesn't happen 100% of the time, but it's very common and can drastically affect your engagements. You can land a hit and lose the fight or trade in ways you normally wouldn't. For glaives specifically, this bug is extremely noticeable. Even if you hit the target, the shot can take about 2 to 3 seconds to register, sometimes 4 to 5 seconds if the target dies immediately afterward. It's not lag, it's the game side delay, and it's making glaives feel inconsistent and unreliable, even when you're doing everything right. Combine this with the melee build issue and the awkward tracking rework, and you've got a weapon that has potential but feels completely unpolished, and frustrating to use. PvE right now is in such an awkward state. As I mentioned earlier, I'm better off solo level grinding because that's currently the most quote-unquote effective way to reach 450 and now 550. The grind just doesn't feel rewarding anymore. You're not getting any pinnacle drops in Desert Perpetual, and they removed rotation pinnacle raids and dungeons. Side note, I actually hated that pinnacle drops only happened in the final encounters instead of throughout the raid or dungeon. Hot take, I know, but it made the rest of the raid and dungeon feel less meaningful, if I must be honest. They also removed Grandmasters and replaced them with something completely different, an activity that I still don't quite understand. Why can't we run this replacement activity more than once? It just feels like they're restricting high-level content unnecessarily. The seasonal activities and pinnacle rewards feel more like chores than challenges. Daily and weekly milestones, seasonal pass grind, and repeatable content, it's kind of exhausting. Because of all this solo grind, I haven't been able to teach anyone anything meaningful in PvE. Teaching raids and endgame content has always been one of my favorite parts of Destiny, and it's frustrating that the current grind structure makes it almost impossible. Honestly, this isn't just about me, it's about the community. In-game content should feel like a place for teamwork, mastery, and progression, and instead right now, it just feels like a series of isolated tasks you have to slog through alone. It's a strange place for a game that used to be so cooperative and rewarding. Overall, as above said, this new formula is making this game unrecognizable. Between the awkward solo grind, limited pinnacle drops, removed Grandmasters, and the confusing seasonal progression, it just doesn't feel like the Destiny we used to know. The endgame is less about teamwork skill and more about checking boxes just to keep up. And all of this leads to burnout. When you log in, it's the same loop. Grind this activity, do this repetitive task, chase the same loot over and over. I've been a Destiny player for years, and for the first time, I'm finding myself questioning, is it worth logging in? Lately, I've taken a step back. I've been playing all kinds of games, such as Phasmophobia, Dying Light, Fortnite, Labyrinthine, etc. And honestly, I've even picked up art again. Low-key, I kind of feel like I'm healing. And I've even been doing some art streams, but beside the point, I've decided to do what a lot of creators are doing, and that is just to wait until Renegades. The only difference is that I'll still log in on reset and the day before to grab some loot and progress my seasonal pass. But outside of that, I'm stepping back until Bungie gives us a real reason to stay invested. Moving forward, I do want to experiment with variety content. I've seen creators like Glad do it, and it's very inspiring, and I think now is a perfect time, especially since it's spooky season. Horror games, survival games, co-op chaos, all of that fits the vibe perfectly, all things considered. I don't want to limit myself anymore. Destiny will always be a part of me, but I also want to create content that feels fresh, fun, and exciting again. The thing is, I want Destiny to be good. I love this game so much. I love the community. I love the memories I've made here. Some of my best moments as a creator and a player have come from Destiny 2, but Bungie needs to start listening more. The grind does not have to be this punishing. Rewards should feel exciting again. PvP deserves love. Endgame activities should challenge us without burning us out, and if they fix a few of these issues, Destiny could shine again. But right now, it just feels like the soul of the game is just slipping. So that's where I'm at. Maybe you feel the same way, maybe you disagree, and that's fine. I do want to hear from you though. Are you still having fun in Destiny? Or are you starting to feel the burnout too? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I really want to see where the community stands on this. And if you enjoy these types of videos where I sit down and talk honestly about the state of the game, let me know by leaving a like or subscribing. I also want to thank you to everyone who's been supporting me through all of my content, from builds, memes, etc. Your support really does keep me going. And for anyone feeling frustrated or like the game isn't what it used to be, remember that it's okay to take a step back and do what makes you happy. Play the game your way and don't let anyone else define how you enjoy it. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy gaming guardians, and remember that I love you in game.